Kindle this flame as a symbol of our gathering. May the light of understanding illuminate our darkness, and may the warmth of sharing bring us peace. Good morning, North Shore Unitarians. You are amazing today. I'm truly grateful to be with you this morning in whatever fashion that we can manage and whatever state of mind or comportment you might be in. Thank you for being here. I am the Reverend Phares, and this, should you have any doubt, is the North Shore Unitarians Sunday service, a very special service indeed, as today is our flower communion. My representation of the flowers is evident in my voice, as I've had some allergies from all of the pollen in the world. So it's kind of a weird offering, but there you go. Most years, this is a really, of course, joyous occasion in the life of our congregation, a celebration of harmony and diversity, a celebration of nature and spring, and a sending forth of our gospel into the world. Everyone is sacred, and everything is interdependent, is the frame of that gospel. And it's a beautiful thing. This year marks our second flower communion during the pandemic. As such, it is somewhat bittersweet. Later, we will see images of those of you who remembered to send in pictures of you with your flowers. And much like last year, I imagine that will bring a smile to your face. And that's the sweet part. The bitter part, of course, is that we can't actually be together as a community yet. But even that has a silver lining this year. Last year, there was no end in sight to our isolation and the threat of COVID. We were worried about the toilet paper supply. This year, we're worried about travel plans. We're not out of the woods, not yet, but the trees are noticeably thinning, and the fragrant wood smoke of the feast flavors the air. We're almost there. Today, we get to turn our isolation inside out and connect through the mediums available, most of these being the primary and ancient mediums of our senses and emotions. We will find life in color and variety. We will find love in familiar faces, and if they are not familiar, we will cherish the anticipation a welcoming stranger nourishes in us. More importantly, we will understand that those experiences, feeling love and connection and welcome, they're experiences that we all hold in common. I invite you to really sink in to that commonality within our diversity. Pema Chodron, the Buddhist teacher, has a lovely exercise called Just Like Me. And the idea is that when we behold people around us throughout our day or today on your screen, you can think, just like me, this person, and then identify some aspect of yourself that the person might share, that you might have in common. So, just like me, this person misses hugging their grandkids. Or just like me, this person loves walks on a sunny day. Just like me, this person loves this congregation. So later, when we are rotating through the pictures, try that experiment and see if it makes you feel more connected and less isolated, more compassionate and less alone. At the end of the day, this is a communion, a bringing together. In our flower communion, we're offered a model of the natural world, diversity in harmonious community, an invitation to be the most vibrantly you that you can be, and the knowing that our community is both more beautiful and more resilient when we are all doing that. For more thoughts on our beautiful community and its flowering, I've asked our Service Associate for the day, Ryan Guenther, what is it about this community that he loves? And if this community were a bouquet, Ryan, what flowers would be in it and why?
That's a simple question with a complicated answer. Over the last year, my wife and I have been going for walks in our neighborhood for health and sanity. Unfortunately, there are only 4 directions, and our house has stayed in the same place, so we've been up and down every street more times than I can count. Since we're together every minute of every day and don't have anything to talk about, and since there isn't much else to look at, we've usually end up judging other people's yards, and I do mean judging. It turns out that despite having no interest or aptitude for gardening, I have strong opinions about what other people choose to grow. I don't like lawns or sculpted hedges or manicured garden beds. Where a lot of people seem to view gardening as a challenge to force plants the least suited to the environment to grow through pure will and obstinacy, I like plants that look like they belong where they are. Like if the gardener went away for a month, they wouldn't die. What I love about this community is that it's that kind of garden. We've all been in groups that were dependent on one person holding it together, and when that person, the gardener, got too busy or lost interest, the group died. A lot of you have probably been that gardener. This community doesn't need a lot of tending. The people are here because they want to be here. Even in a year when we've been pulled up by the roots and forcibly turned into indoor plants, we haven't withered. If anything, it feels like there's even more pent-up energy than ever before. If I picture this community as flowers, it isn't a bouquet. It's a field of wildflowers, a riot of color with no pattern or design, but 100 different species thriving in harmony. And with that image in your mind, I invite you to sing along with our opening hymn, De Coloris. The words are in your order of service.
De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De
So behind my house, there's a laneway that leads down a pretty steep hill eventually. And on one side are homes, and on the other is a copse of woods dividing the homes from the noise of 3rd Street on the other side of the woods. So I like walking my dog, Ruby, along that laneway because she can romp in and out of the edge of those woods, and I could let her off the leash a little bit. Also, it's a steep hill, as I mentioned, which means it's pretty good exercise for us both, and we both could use that. Along the way, there are, at this time of year, many flowers. Some are growing over the backyard fences, and some occupy urban meadows of empty lots on this side, the housing side, and some virtually explode from the woods over here. And they're often a vibrant sort of backdrop to the stroll. But they're just a backdrop for me. I mean, I'm not really a flower kind of guy. I'm oriented to beauty, to be sure, and to nature. Trees and rivers, mountains call to me. It's just the beauty of a flower. I don't know, it's not my thing. I sort of take it for granted, I think. When Katie, my wife, comes with me, she practically swoons over the flowers, points them out almost individually, each one, right? And if my kids go, they come back with fistfuls of yellows and whites and blues. So, but for me, they're just kind of in the background. And yet, for some reason the other day, and maybe because flower communion was approaching and I was looking for a photogenic spot, they ceased to be backdrop. It's like someone turned up the volume and they became suddenly the star of the show, events unto themselves, enchanting, even mesmerizing. And I thought, why the heck do I notice this? Why am I, not just now, but ever, besotted by aesthetics? What is the purpose, to name drop from our mission statement, of my infatuation with these luminescent blue and delicate petals cupping the light just so? And then I thought, not only what is my purpose noticing them, but what is their purpose in my noticing them? I'm no pollinator, and bees don't see it the same way that we do. So is their color, their vibrancy, as I behold it, merely an accident of their lust for reproduction? Or is this collateral beauty? And then wondering about the purpose of our relationship carried me into wondering about purpose itself. I mean, as a minister to a congregation with purpose in our mission statement, I might need to have something to say about the idea of purpose. So, at that point, I'm on alert and fairly intoxicated by the mingling of aesthetics and ideas. And finally, in a sensation kind of like circling the drain, settling on a rather more general question, maybe more fundamental question of what is my purpose, period. What is my purpose? Stripped down and isolated like that, it suddenly felt like a lonely question. What is my purpose? I felt lonely asking it. What is my purpose? But then I wasn't alone, was I? I had a conversation partner, after all, there in the blue flowers, nodding over the laneway gray brick wall, just so, and these flowers and I. So I turned the question on them. What is your purpose, you little thrust of color? And by extrapolation, what is the purpose of flowers in general, in plants? And since we're extrapolating like mad, what is the purpose of all life, of being itself? What is the purpose of purpose? And adjacent, in this sense, is purpose the same as function? Depth, meaning, and function? Look, I don't always talk to flowers in this way. Sometimes we just muse on the weather. And so the way the conversation went is that I suggested that the purpose of plants is to make air breathable, to provide food. But I was wrong. That is not the purpose of plants. That's the purpose of plants for me, for us. If I am conversing with a plant about the purposes of plants in order to learn something about my own purpose, then I need to wonder about what the purpose of plants is from the plant's perspective. What is my purpose from the plant's perspective? As though the plant were asking that. But then I discovered something that may be obvious to you. This is a poorly made question. Plants have no purpose for themselves. My initial response was far closer to the proper orientation after all. Plants are here for others. They have no purpose isolated to themselves, and here's the takeaway: neither do we. We are here for others also. And when we lose sight of that, which we have from time to time, we become a threat. Purpose is a mutual enterprise. Purpose only makes sense interdependently. All purpose is mutual, which is not to say selfless. There is and must be individuality within mutuality, individuation within community. Indeed, it is so by definition. It takes two to tango, after all. And so in that sense, I suppose that purpose and function are the same. I feel kind of funny and disappointed saying it. And I think the root question, or the question at the root of my discomfort is this. So looking at these flowers and wondering about the purpose of their beauty, must beauty be reduced to some survival mechanism? That feels disheartening. Can't beauty be for its own sake? Must it serve a function? So this is actually another dumb question. I'm beginning to realize that I'm full of dumb questions. But I don't mind, because I like where they take me. Of course, beauty is functional. Joy is necessary. Awe is necessary. Bliss is necessary for life to occur. And we are the apex aestheticians. We not only experience joy, we are aware of it. We can anticipate it. It's a niche that fulfills a planetary need. Beauty, just like purpose, is a mutual enterprise. And in the expansion of identity that mutuality delivers is a spiritual experience. How to expand identity and keep individuation is a trick, and one worth considering at a later time. Beauty is an interaction. It's a relationship. Shadow to light, angles, rhythm, harmony and dissonance, observer, observed, performer, medium, culture, neurons, chemicals and commentary, audience, gift as reflection, reception as gift, heartbreak as redemption, creation resounding in fractals and all the faces of the world, beauty and purpose. Cool. So bidding farewell to my philosophical flower, I walked back toward my home, though not before snapping a picture of my dog sitting in some flowers having a decidedly different conversation. And as I called her to my side, I wondered about the implications of this thought cloud in light of flower communion and congregational depth, meaning, and purpose. We are not here for ourselves alone. We are here for each other, for mutuality. I am of thee, you are of me. We are here to make and recognize and receive beauty ever more readily and with less and less corruption from the distractions of a culture that has mistaken individuality for individualism. Our responsibility here is to create a place where we neither lose ourselves nor think only of what's in it for me, but where we can be most ourselves, the most us that we can possibly be, to come alive to all that we are. Individuate without the individualism. Expand that sense of identity, but keep the sense of self. For only well-individuated beings will make of many dancers one dance, of many flowers one bouquet.
O creatures of the earth and sky, come kindly to lift your voices high. Alleluia, alleluia. Bright morning sun with golden beam, soft shining moon with silver gleam. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
It's rushing wind so wild and strong, white clouds that sail in heaven alone. Alleluia, alleluia. Favorite
So we're about to embark on our flower communion, and before we do that, I'm going to show you a little video produced by Foothills UU Church, roundabout Denver, Colorado, explaining what flower communion is about and the history of flower communion in particular. And so I hope you enjoy that. And then after that, we'll do the flower communion with the pictures and the flowers. And remember, when you're doing that, of course, if you want to just sit back and enjoy the beautiful smiling faces and flowers, that is perfectly wonderful thing to do. But also, I do invite you and offer you the exercise that Pima Chodron described, the just like me. So if you want to, with each face, identify something that you know that you have in common, or can identify that you have in common with that person, and say, just like me, that person, or if you know their name, that name has this feeling or this experience. And see what that does. And if it does anything or does nothing, I'd be interested to hear. It's an experiment. So, let us commence our flower communion.
Nearly 100 years ago, the Unitarian minister Norbert Chopek offered his Czechoslovakian congregation a ritual to respond to their questions about how to be a community that welcomed rather than suppressed diversity. Czechoslovakia was a country formed in the aftermath of war. Struggling just 5 years after the end of that war with questions of belonging and identity, trust and anxiety. Chopek's ritual took the traditional bread and wine communion that his community was too heretical for and too resistant to these usual symbols, and played with this ritual. He turned instead to the beauty of nature all around them and invited each of his congregants to find a flower and bring it to the church one Sunday. That each person would find the flower that was beautiful to them was a symbol of their affirmation that each of us has a piece of the truth, our unique sense of what beauty means. On their way into the church, his congregation was in turn invited, each of them, to place that flower in a vase, which symbolized their free choice to enter into community alongside all the other people that saw beauty in their own way, symbolized by their flowers placed there as well. A free church where people freely choose to walk together across their differences. Once everyone had gathered, they'd bring the vase forward. Then the minister, Chopek, he would bless it. And then he'd invite everyone to choose a flower to take home with them, but just not the one that they came with. Again, this free choice affirmed each person's choice to be blessed by another and to receive with an open heart their different understandings of beauty and to feel connected rather than divided by this difference. In this moment where so many forces seek to divide people, to play on our fears of differences and our anxieties of the other, here we remember that we freely choose to walk together and to be blessed by the differences between us and to see these differences as beauty.
That was so lovely. Thank you all. I would invite you now into a spirit of prayer. And today, I'll move through my sort of opening litany, the framing of our relationship here in the world, the sun, the earth, water, and air, which I think also track with their sort of evolutionary development. So we'll move through those and say thank you and set the frame for ourselves. And then for the prayer part, actually, we're going to move into a moment of silence. In fact, 215 seconds of silence, 1 second, of course, for each lost child recently discovered in our province in the residential school. And when we do that, I really want you to stay here. I would encourage you to not find yourself distracted by what else is happening in whatever environment you're witnessing this in, but to stay with this silence as an opportunity to acknowledge the empty space left by a loss of life, right? And then to allow that emptiness to call forth action and reflection and action and reflection until we no longer have the opportunity or the necessity to exercise our sorrow in this way. So we will hold that silence for 215 seconds. But first, we say thank you to the Son. Thank you, Son, for blessing us, for your energy and your warmth. We say thank you to the earth for giving us these bodies, for holding these bodies close, for giving us our senses through which we can experience the beauty that you provide. We say thank you, water, for your refreshing, thirst-quenching, life-giving. And we say thank you to air for conveying our thoughts, for connecting us to one another and to this world. I would invite you now into 215 seconds of remembrance. No words. There's no sympathies and no actions that we could do or say or convey. That would even approach making it better. And yet, while we can't undo what has been done, we can look it square and we can make a better world. And so, let this silence fuel our intention, and let our intention manifest as action, and let us make a change. Amen. Amen. Amen.
We are the North Shore Unitarian Church, and our mission is to empower people to live with greater depth, meaning, and purpose. If this is one of your first times participating in our Sunday service, we'd love for you to say hi in the comment section. You'll find a warm welcome, I'm sure. In this community, we celebrate people from all walks of life. No matter how you experience the sacred, no matter who you are or who you love, we hope you will feel welcome. We are a busy congregation with a lot going on, so please read your weekly e-bulletin. If you haven't already subscribed to the e-bulletin, you can do that by clicking on the link in the YouTube description or by emailing our church administrator, and the address is on our website. But there are a few things I particularly want to draw your attention to today. Today's featured art piece is Klein North Shore No. 5 by Lisa Okowitz. Our annual general meeting is today at 1 p.m. on Zoom. So church members, please check in between 12:15 and 12:55 using the link that was emailed to you with the notice packet on May 26th. We are sorry, but this event is only open to voting members, no spectators. Visitors and friends will unfortunately have to content themselves with their favorite hobbies or activities on a beautiful spring afternoon. Our outreach recipient for June and for the rest of the summer will be the Indian Residential School Survivor Society, IRSSS, which has been providing services to residential school survivors for 20 years. Its mission is to provide physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual growth, development, and healing for survivors, their families, and their communities. The Society assists survivors with counseling, court support, information, referrals, workshops, and much more. You can donate by texting a dollar amount to 604-200-3443, or you can donate by e-transfer, cash, or check, and the instructions for that are in the e-bulletin. Please give as generously as you are able. LynnFest, the retirement celebration for Lynn Sabarin, will take place on Saturday, June 19th at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Join us live on our YouTube channel from the comfort and safety of your own home. There will also be a tour de Lynn on that evening where you can safely gather with church friends at specific locations in West Vancouver, North Vancouver, and Burnaby. You can see the locations and times, and you can sign up on our website or using the link in the e-bulletin. And finally, the deadline to submit videos for Lynn's Video Hug is this Thursday, June 10th. If you haven't already done so, get those in this week. Details are, of course, in the e-bulletin. Thank you for your participation in these activities and for your attention. We hope that you found today's service meaningful and will join us again. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a comment. June is Pride Month, so next week's service is on Coming Out with our own Cynthia Becker. Same time, same station.
Thank you for being with us today. It was lovely to see all your faces and to participate in this flower communion with everybody who is witnessing this. For now, we extinguish this flame, but we carry with us the light of vision and the warmth of hope. The world calls us to live with depth, meaning, and purpose. We go forth with courage and love. And if you would please rise, embody your spirit to receive the benediction. I know it might be ridiculous to stand up in your house looking at a TV screen. But if you're a sports fan, you do that from time to time anyway, so you might as well do it right now. This is, I guess, imagine we've just scored a goal. And rise, because this is a joyful gathering. And this is a celebration, a celebratory moment of it. Be in your body and rise in your spirit. Know that all of your fellow members and friends and congregants and viewers are doing the same with you right now, according through time. We are of one another. We take part in each other. We develop and laugh with one another. And in this space that we have created together, we have made a space for each of us to be most who we are, for you to unfurl yourself to the fullest, and to be in beautiful community with others who are doing likewise, who you and your presence has made possible for them to do just that. What an amazing, amazing feat. Go in peace, and let's go singing.